They drove for miles north of the city, and at last turned into a narrow lane overgrown with grass. There was a smell of rottenness and the river. In places, the swamp oozed across the road. They haven't kept the levee in repair here, Susanna said. The path they were following became lost in marshy growth, though now and then they found surviving traces of the way. At last, close to the river, they passed through an ornamental gate into the remains of a once classic garden. Rare flowers and rank weeds grew thickly together round chunks of old statues in sections of fence. They passed pools of dark water, misted with mosquitoes, as they walked in the insufferable, still heat. A peculiar smile kept tugging at Susanna's pout. At last they reached the stone steps, going up to a charred veranda. They stood on the roofless, uncolumned porch and looked down into a rectangular pit like a huge sunken grave, boiling with weeds so dense and tall that Johnny could scarcely see to the base of their stalks. "Here's where I lived when I was a little girl, Johnny," Susanna said, as she stood there looking down at this great festering grave of something that had once been her life. Johnny restructured the mansion in his mind, building it up from the shadow smudge of an old daguerreotype. The desolate tangle of the garden became once more barbered and coolly lovely. An old black gardener worked among the roses and the lilies. The house reared its white walls from a veranda shaded with slender and tall columns. On the steps stood a little girl with black hair and violet eyes, clutching under her arm an unburnt doll. Father and mother stood beside her, and in the shadow of the porch, leaning against the column, was a dark-skinned woman with tragically lovely eyes. "How did it burn, Susanna?" "No one knows," she said. She stared fixedly into the grave.